What's up, guys? It's Phil. Hope everyone's been enjoying the Memorial Day weekend so far. I know I enjoyed it very much last night. I'm still nursing a little bit of a hangover. So I figured I'd jump online today and just out of curiosity check out Rotten Tomatoes, see what's going on. And we could see we have all critics still showing 71%. And top critics are. Oh, that's not good. Yeah. Okay, welcome back, everybody. There's an article from the good people over at Mashable. Up in the corner here says entertainment, which is questionable regarding some of the things that Lucasfilm has been putting out uh, where Star Wars is concerned. So it says Solo, a Star Wars story, drops an opening weekend bomb, just dropping bombs uh, all over the place, and not a page Tico to be found. Um, on the box office. So dropping bombs on the box office. And here we could see Pando with his merry bunch of sexual deviants, and we have Therm Scissor Punch over here, and from what I understand, does not do any scissor punching whatsoever. And if you blink, you can miss him in the movie. So keep your eyes open. His trading cards are available at Denny's, so if you're in the mood for some breakfast, head on over there and maybe you get lucky and get a Therm Scissor Punch card. So this is written by Adam Rosenberg, and let's see here. It's trite and super obvious to most people, not named Kathleen Kennedy, but it needs to be said. Disney probably has a bad feeling about this. Yeah, I would say so. Solo, a Star Wars story, is looking at a 3-day Memorial Day weekend box office of 83.3 million in the United States. That's unheard of. For the United States, domestic box office for Star Wars, Star Wars is a license to print money. So every time a Star Wars movie opens, it's $100 million, like in the bank. Like just bank on it. The fact that it for 3 days it can't clear that, there's a big problem that needs to be taken care of and looked at, and Kathleen Kennedy and all of these knuckleheads over there gotta get things right. They gotta get the ship right, or get rid of Kathleen Kennedy and restructure the leadership over there. So let's see. In the run-up to opening weekend, Disney expected to pull in a 4-day box office total of 130 million to 150 million. Remember back in the day when they were saying 170, and this movie was outpacing Black Panther, and I mean, it was just what a bunch of nonsense that turned out to be. Nobody has their ear to the ground who writes these articles and projects for these movies, because people who the fans have been kind of saying, "Listen, I'm not going," and no one's listening. No one was listening, and they're listening now. You could be sure of it. And come Monday, when these final results are in, it's they're really going to be listening, and they'll be spinning it. Of course, that's what they do. But we all know the truth. Let's see. So Memorial Day weekend is traditionally not the strongest time to open a mega blockbuster. The biggest opener of all time was 139.8 million, belongs to Pirates of the Caribbean at World's End. That 4-day total doesn't even rank in the top 20 for Hollywood all-time best opening weekends, which is interesting. You would think a Memorial Day weekend opening would be strong, but I guess, people going to barbecues, I guess that is a thing. So let's see. Well, with one more day to go in the holiday weekend, it's exceedingly unlikely that Solo will catch up to Disney's low-end estimate of 130 million. Looking at past Memorial Day hits, the best case for this latest Star Wars is a Monday box office of roughly 25 million at best, and even that will put it just north of 100 million over 4 days. So 25 million plus the 83 that they're saying, you're looking at 108 million. They were saying they were being modest and at one point saying 115. Now we're looking under that, and again, not even making 100 million in 3 days. It's disturbing box office numbers for a Star Wars film. It's more disturbing than Lando Calrissian running around Cloud City with his shirt off, smearing peanut butter all over his chest. The holiday isn't the only factor to blame for Solo's rough start. Deadpool 2, still fresh after its release last Friday, is solidly locked in at number 2 for the weekend with an estimated 42.7 million. Alarm bells are ringing there as well. Deadpool's second weekend take represents 66% drop in attendance since opening weekend, which isn't great. Okay. Disney is also competing with itself to some extent, right? Avengers is still out there. That's making bank. That came in number 3 with 16.5 million. Still very strong in the box office. Won the one hand on, maybe that's supposed to be on the other hand. Won the one hand. I don't know. That's not a huge dent to Solo's opening days in theaters. But on the other. So all right, on the one hand, that's not a huge dent to Solo's opening days in theaters, but on the other, an extra 16.5 million on the weekend estimate would have at least guaranteed 100 million plus 4-day weekend, and it would have put Solo much closer to Disney's early forecast for opening weekend. So they're basically talking about Disney's own products cannibalizing the box office. So you still have Infinity War is out there, and that's making money, and they're saying, well, this contributes to the cannibalization of box office for Solo's opening weekend, which in part is true, but not being recognized is the fact that the fans just didn't turn out for this movie because they're fed up and they're annoyed, and it's something that needs to be recognized, and until they actually recognize it, what's going to really compel them to right the ship and create the type of quality Star Wars movies that we know can be produced? Really, the faster they get, crazy Kathleen Kennedy, or Cray Double K, as I like to call her, the faster they get her out of there and put somebody in that seat like a Dave Filoni, the better off this whole entire franchise and IP and Lucasfilm will be. So let's see here. Competition is less than ideal. How do we can position our factors and low box office? No question. But Solo itself doesn't get a pass just because of those external pressures. That's correct. At the end of the day, a movie lives and dies by its own inherent quality or lack thereof. And in the case of Solo, critics were left wanting. The new Star Wars movie currently stands at 71% fresh on the movie reviews aggregator Rotten Tomatoes, and that's all critics. And like we saw, we got a nice fat splat from top critics. So that's another black eye on this film right now. So it says that's good enough to top only 2 of the 3 prequel films. Revenge of the Sith scored higher, as well as the 3 TV episodes and 1 movie for Star Wars: The Clone Wars. Solo was, of course, beset by high-profile production challenges, including the removal and firing of original directors Phil Lord and Chris Miller. Replacement director Ron Howard came in with a mop and tried to clean up this mess and finish off the movie on a truncated production schedule. There's no telling what Solo would look like if that director shuffle hadn't happened, or if Howard had been given more time. It also doesn't matter. Speculation can be fun, but in this case, the movie is what it is. It's out now, and the box office is an inescapable piece of story. Is an escapable piece of its story. I still want my Lord and Miller cut. I want to know what that looked like. I wonder if there was a musical number in there. One could only wonder what was going on. Let's see. Solo still can end up being a box office winner in the end. It's sure to earn more than movies do, simply because it's a Star Wars. But it could also overcome the initial Memorial Day speed bump if word of mouth sends a different, more positive message than critics have. which it doesn't seem like that's going to be the case. I mean, this movie it's going to make some money because it's Star Wars, and Star Wars does make money, and fans want to love it. But you know, it's becoming an abusive relationship now. It's a cycle of abuse. You know. Let's see. Then again, summer competition is real. First week of June is fairly quiet. Solo will be facing off subsequent weeks against Ocean's 8, The Incredibles, Jurassic World. I mean, these are forget it. I mean, if anyone's even seen this movie, I mean, by the time Jurassic World rolls around, it's over. Solo will be a distant memory, an awful distant memory. The most likely outcome here has Solo pulling in enough around the world for Disney to meekly frame it as a success. That is going to be a spin on the scale of a cyclone, twister, tornado, megastorm, the likes of which Disney has seldom had to do with movies that should make this kind of money. The money that Solo is not making, but should have. But in reality, this is a weak opening for a Star Wars movie, as the lowest of the 4 post-Disney releases, and even falling short of Revenge of the Sith, which opened in 2005 with 108.4 million. None of this spells the end for Star Wars at the movies, of course, but you can bet that Disney will be watching Solo closely and trying to learn from whatever mistakes led to this box office low point for the series. So whatever mistakes, trying to learn from whatever mistakes led to this. We know what the mistakes are. The Last Jedi, Rian Johnson, not listening to the fans, Kathleen Kennedy pushing her social justice politics into this universe with every which way she can, and the fans rejecting it. You know, the fans are the keepers of this mythology. We were around, you know, for all these decades, kind of keeping it alive, talking about it, you know, as it came in and out of the social consciousness, you know, the general public. We were the ones who, you know, we held on to this, and we held these characters near and dear to our heart. And, you know, we're not going to stand for this type of nonsense and these subpar outings for these movies. We're not going to come. Okay, you can't continue to shovel this type of BS at us and expect us to just kind of lap it up. It's not working, and that's the problem. And again, you know, the fans have felt like you know, they've been disrespected. Their voices haven't been heard, and you know, the pandering to all of these other groups of people, and you know, that were never fans to begin with, who didn't listen. This franchise did well enough with the people who loved it. It made its hundreds of millions of dollars, and was a $1 billion franchise. Now it's still going to be a $1 billion franchise, but like I've said before, Disney doesn't like to see diminished returns on their investments, and on this long enough timeline, we're seeing like these returns are making it harder and harder for Disney to turn a profit and recoup that $4.05 billion that they paid for this franchise from George Lucas. So you know, again, this is an ever-evolving story, and I think this is really the run and start at this point now to see a change internally at Lucasfilm. We'll see what comes of this. These box office numbers, when it's all said and done, I mean, when this whole theatrical release is done, that's going to be really interesting. We might not even break 650 million. This movie it's going to be lucky to turn a profit of any significance. So this could be the starting point for you know, a crusade to get Dave Filoni in there. I think a lot of us want to see that. So what do you guys think? What's the box office going to top out at? Would you like to? I mean, I think I speak for a lot of fans thinking that you know, when I say Filoni is the guy we kind of want to see in charge here and take over and save us. I mean, he seems to be our only hope. What do you think the timeline is for Kathleen Kennedy? Do you think she makes it to The Last Jedi? You know, it's just a lot of stuff going on. So all right, guys, if you like this video, hit the like button. I'm trying to be consistent with putting things out. So subscribe, and next time one pops up, you'll be able to see that when that bell rings. And that's pretty much it, man. Hope you liked it. And again, enjoy the remainder of your Memorial Day weekend. Have a great time, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.